Today's NFL Mailbag is sponsored by Mint Mobile. They're changing the game in cell phone wireless coverage. Plans start as low as $15 a month. Start saving today without losing any of your coverage, since Mint Mobile runs on the largest 5G network, by making the switch over at mintmobile.com/chatsports. All right, Super Chat time from Clash with Zeus. $5. Thank you, my friend. Big ups to you. Do you think Tom Brady's personal problems are going to affect his on-field performance this year? I would wager that he's still going to be Brady. At some point, it has to stop. I do subscribe to the idea, theory, truth, whatever word we want to use there, that Gisele was mad that he returned to football. She'd scheduled the vacation in advance and said, Tom, you're coming or else. And Brady did not want to find out what the or else was. That's why he took that time off. I think there could be some concerns of, hey, are you locked in all the way? I mean, you don't. It's Brady. All the rules go out the window for him, but you don't take off in the middle of camp like that. That's in the preseason. That's unheard of in most cases for what I think was just a vacation. So I don't think it will. If it does, I think if Brady regresses, I think it'll be because age, and he wasn't quite the same crazy wired, locked-in guy he'd always been in his NFL career. All right, Jeff Rogers, you think the Ravens will pay Lamar Jackson or franchise him for 2 years? I think at minimum, they're going to be on the franchise tag tomorrow. Look, we're filming this on Wednesday. The deadline is Friday. We'll see if that gets done or not. But the Ravens, I think, want to keep Lamar. I think Lamar is asking for a lot of money. I understand that. There doesn't appear to be major rush from Lamar's camp either. I think he can use the franchise tag to his advantage. But I doubt the Ravens just let him leave as opposed to not paying him. We'll see if a deal gets done. I think that's one of the biggest questions out there in the NFL right now. From Slippery Bill, why haven't the Ravens added Odell Beckham Jr.? So as it relates to OBJ, the Rams have so much interest, right? Like we all know that the Rams want to sign him. I get it. And I think he wants to go back too. OBJ doesn't have any leverage right now in contract talks. He's not healthy. He's not going to be out there and clear to play until late October, early November. For OBJ, $1 million right now, you don't need that. What you could use is get healthy on your own, and then once you're healthy, maybe there's some more receiver injuries. Maybe it's Baltimore. Maybe it's the Rams, the Cowboys, the Packers, whoever, who have some type of injury or Titans at wide receiver. And they go, shoot, we need OBJ really badly. And all of a sudden, there's a bit more of a bidding war than there might otherwise be in the middle of September or dating back to August. So I think OBJ's unsigned because he wants to wait. There's no rush from him to go get a new deal somewhere. So who will end up signing Odell Beckham? I still think the Rams should be your betting favorite since there is that good relationship there. So two options. Type in R for the Rams or O for a different NFL team, and other, if you will. This is the pinned comment on today's show. So if an ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. R or O. Jewel Orr. So the Niners extend Robbie Gould. If you want, sure. Kickers have a rather long lifespan in the NFL relative to every other position. Gould does turn 40 this year. If you can keep the guaranteed money low, I'm totally on board there. He's also a kicker. Like, you can wait. It's not a high-end priority for you. So if you want things to be good for a few more years, sure. It's also a kicker, an old one. I wouldn't rush into it. The NFL kid, Kyle Brandt, said the Panthers will win the South. Playoff time or no? I think they have a shot at the postseason. It all comes down to the quarterback play, right? Is Baker Mayfield enough of an upgrade as the O-line has its issues? There were injuries last year, and they started hot but collapsed once they played competent football teams pretty clearly. I don't think they win the South. I'm still going Tampa there. But in a not-so-great NFC, if they can beat the Saints once or twice, or twice in particular, they can absolutely make the postseason. I don't think they're going to be the number one overall pick. I think they might finish around 500, and I wonder if that still leads to Matt Rule getting fired. I'm not convinced he's the guy long term. I am convinced, though, in Mint Mobile. Unlimited talk and text on the largest 5G network. Start saving today at mintmobile.com/chatsports. Use mobile hotspot. It does run, by the way, on the largest 5G network. Your service switches between 5G and 4G. With plans starting at just $15 a month, you're losing money if you don't make the switch, just like my mom did to Mint Mobile. So go do it today. mintmobile.com/chatsports. That link is in the comments section and the description of today's show. From the RC Plane Builder, is Marcus Mariota a dark horse candidate for comeback player of the year? I think dark horse, sure. I would be surprised if he won, but that's what makes him a dark horse, right? He definitely qualifies since he didn't do much of anything last year or in several years. I think some other candidates, Michael Thomas, Christian McCaffrey, maybe Jameis Winston too, have better chances. But if you want to throw some money on Mariota as a dark horse, sure. I think he's a good scheme fit for the offense. I just think Atlanta's not going to win enough games overall to get him that national hype you need for that type of award. Jeff Rogers, do you agree with the new regime in Vegas getting rid of most of the Gruden-Mayock draft picks? I go back and forth on this. On one hand, you didn't draft well. Dump them and get something while you can. That I understand. On the other hand, the Patriot way, which is what the Raiders are doing now, has never, ever worked in the NFL outside of New England. Tennessee doesn't really count from that standpoint. It has been a failure everywhere it's gone when you bring in a GM and a head coach from the Patriots. It just doesn't work. It already failed once in Denver with Josh McDaniels. And the Raiders were a playoff team last year. I love their offense. The offensive line terrifies me. The defense should be good, but they changed a lot of the key pieces there. In general, look, you missed on a lot of picks. You dumped them. I get it. I would have done things differently with Leatherwood in particular, but he was horrible last year. So I get it. I go back and forth. I am okay with it, but I would be lying to you if I wasn't worried about it. Now, if you want NFL, NBA, and college football coverage all year long, hit that big red button and subscribe. We are Chat Sports, have videos every day, oftentimes multiple times per day on everything going on around the NFL. So if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe. From Evan Hinders, if Minnesota makes the playoffs, will Kevin O'Connell win Coach of the Year? Maybe. I think it depends on what the other new coaches do. If the Giants make the playoffs, Brian Dable's going to win it, right? So if they make it, he's got a great shot, but I wouldn't call it a guarantee since they weren't that far away last year. Why Big Jordan? Who do you think will be the next head coach of the Panthers, and you think he will give Matt Golden Corral a chance? He was the first QB to practice almost every day during camp, which is, and I'm not going to be mean to Matt Corral, doing things the right way despite really not great performance for his unfortunate injury. I don't know. I think a lot of this comes down to how good or bad is Carolina this year. If Carolina's drafting top 5, they're going to take a new quarterback. And that sucks for Matt Corral, but he's a third-round pick for a new regime, in theory, that is not attached to him. We've seen teams draft a QB in the third round and move on very quickly, even when they're hurt. So depends on where they're drafting and, who the new head coach is. There's going to be a lot of interest in, I think, guys like Mike Kafka this upcoming year. I think guys like Dan Quinn will draw interest again to the cycle. Probably not Eric Bieniemy at this point, unfortunately. That's just the way it's gone. There's clearly some problems there. A little early for me to pick next head coach. There was a point where I thought Joe Brady would be a head coach. That didn't work out at all. Panthers fans know that quite well. So I don't know about head coach. Let's see where they finish in terms of Corral. If they're drafting early, they're going to take a QB, I bet. From Elbow Tightness, is this Matt Stafford's burner account? I saw any of the Falcons trading for Kareem Hunt. Thoughts? Dumb? Doesn't make sense? I'm sorry, but trading for Kareem Hunt is adding a win-now move, right? You're adding a veteran back who would probably be your RB2. Now, you drafted Tyler Algier in the 5th round. You got Darrell Williams as depth as kind of 2A, 2B there. Cordero Patterson's fine, but the Falcons are not a contender. I'm sorry. So why are you trading draft picks for a running back? That doesn't make sense to me at all. Just kind of feels like a bad idea, to be blunt. Now, we have not done this in a while here on the main Chat Sports channel. I love it and I hate it. I'm asking you to trigger me in the comment section with bad trade ideas. Because what ends up happening is I go back to the comment section 2 days later or whatever, and I forget I asked this question. And then I end up triggering myself. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy there. Get in the comment section and trigger me with some bad trade ideas. Junior Estrada, NFL draft sleepers for next year. Ooh, kind of early with just week 1 of the season. I was kind of hoping it was going to be Devin Leary at quarterback, and then he didn't play very well in the first game. That was pretty disappointing. Jack's in my ear saying Emory Jones. No. Sorry. Overall, it's a little early for draft sleeper conversations. If you check out the channel, I did some week 1 winners that I was pretty impressed by from that standpoint. Some losers in there as well. Like Mayan Williams, not a guy on my radar, even though he played for Ohio State. Played awesome. Rashee Rice, SMU, good sleeper name in there. FSU had some receivers flash in that opening game as well. The Charlie Jones from Purdue, I think is maybe a good example. Like Buffalo, Iowa, Purdue transfer, balled out in his first game for Purdue. That's a good name to keep an eye out for as well. Oh, and the South Dakota State tight end. I forget his name. That's a good one. UNC Panther King Animan Marvel. Think the Jags could make the playoffs this season. I think they're going to be better this year, which is a very low bar to clear, I know. And of the AFC divisions, the South is the least of the group, just barely behind the AFC East. Can they beat the Texans twice? Yes. Can they steal games against the Colts and Titans? Maybe. I think it's tough because you got to win 10-plus games. I don't see a 10-plus win jump for Jacksonville, but 7, 8, maybe even 9, and being in contention into December, I think that is possible. From London Bryce, how about Alexander Mattison to the Steelers for a draft pick? I've seen plenty of Alexander Mattison trade buzz. I don't really get it. In terms of just selling him for Minnesota or paying a premium for a guy with a 4.2 career average. He's a good back. He's not special, though. So if the Vikings want to trade him for a late draft pick, sure. If they want more than that, I don't get it from Pittsburgh's standpoint, since we know they're going to lean heavily on Najee Harrison. Jalen Warren's not a bad player, I think, as a backup, for a UDFA at least. All right, you mentioned trades for Madison there. Name a player you think ends up getting dealt. Have some fun. We've got about 2 months of the NFL trade deadline, then it's gone. We can't talk trades again for months at that point. So let me know in the comments section. Name a player you think gets traded. From Michael, rate C.J. Stroud's performance against Notre Dame. C-ish? Stroud's a weird prospect for me at times. There is inconsistency in his game. He typically reads defenses pretty well, but he also starts consistently slow, and I don't really get why. Maybe it's a rhythm thing. I thought the Notre Dame defense did a great job locking up some of those receivers in that game, but he started slow. He did not play the way I thought he was going to. Look, they won the game. There weren't turnovers. There weren't INTs. He was steady, but not the spectacular ball out I thought we were going to get in the opening game of the season. So C+, acknowledging that that's based on expectations. There are plenty of quarterbacks who would have liked the game he had against Notre Dame, but we're talking potential number 1 overall pick. I thought he would have played just a little bit better.